Another active week of severe weather will be possible as we go through the rest of the month of March, and potentially even a severe weather outbreak as we go towards this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday across the Arctic, the Central Plains, the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and the East Coast and Midwest. So lots of states, once again, under the threat for severe weather at the end of this week. The Storm Prediction Center has done something it's never done before, and it has issued its largest risk zone present for a day 7 outlook, and we'll talk about that here again in just a few minutes. We do have some ongoing severe weather down into portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida this morning. We had a couple strong storms this morning that brought some 60 and 70 mile an hour wind gusts down through the I-10 corridor from East Texas through Lafayette into Lake Charles and into New Orleans this morning. That system is now on the bottom of your screen down here. It will be moving its way out later on this evening as a trailing cold front pushes its way off the East Coast. But other than that, we are relatively quiet across majority of the United States here. That is expected to change as we go into the middle of the week, and then at the end of the week, as we could see the potential for a large, significant severe weather outbreak once again. I do want to let you guys know, as I'm making this video here as well, we're continuing to get updates in. We'll have updates. We'll be live streaming every day going forward, talking about what's getting ready to happen. I want to also let you guys know as well, there is some differencing with our models and definitely with our risk zones that I'm going to show you today. They definitely could change. I think they will change. I think we'll get some up and down trends as we get closer to this severe weather event. I'm personally not sold quite yet on this severe weather that we're going to be seeing as we go into this weekend. We're just going to have to wait and see what the Storm Prediction Center does, as well as what our models do and our ensembles do as we kind of go in through the week here. So there's no time to panic. There's no time to worry as of right now. Like I said, if you're in a risk zone that I show you for today and going into the rest of this week here, just have a way to have a plan in place, a severe weather plan in place. It's that time of the year. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the peak of tornado season. I expect a very, very active April and May to commence as those months get here. So we're going to break all that down for you guys. This is your March 24th, 2025 weather update, and here we go. All right, I do want to go ahead and talk about what's happening today and what's going on through this morning and this afternoon. You can see a marginal risk zone is placed across portions of southeastern Louisiana, southern Minnesota, southern portions of Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida, as well as southwestern portions of Georgia. We've got a lot of convection ongoing. Most of this is heavy rain. There is some wind and an isolated tornado risk present from the I-10 corridor from New Orleans into Pensacola and into Tallahassee and eventually through southern portions of Georgia later on this afternoon. I expect this to be a very low-end threat. If anything, we could see an isolated tornado. We have not seen any tornadoes this morning. We did have a couple confirmed tornadoes yesterday and lots of large hail yesterday across the southeast and the Tennessee Valley yesterday. So if you were impacted with those storms, my thoughts and prayers go out to you guys as always with that. We got lucky here in Kentucky. We didn't end up seeing anything as far as the hail risk or any of that. We had a little bit of wind, but that was just about it. But this morning, this should start to work its way, or this afternoon, the system should work its way off the East Coast. You can kind of see a boundary that's still in place here, even along the Georgia and Florida coastline here as these storms are working their way off the east. So we're not expecting a widespread severe weather event today. Lots of rain up along the East Coast there as that system works its way out. And like I said, a conditional hail, wind, and tornado risk for the rest of the coastline here this afternoon. I'll kind of give you guys a timeline here just briefly on what's going to be happening with this risk zone so you guys can see when these storms will officially be gone. And like I said, these will quickly move their way off the East Coast by later on after dinner time tonight. We should be severe weather-wise after 6 p.m. tonight, and then these storms are pretty much gone. And this system is off the coastline. There also will be the threat for some rain showers back up into the Ohio Valley later on tonight into tomorrow morning, but I'm not expecting anything significant or crazy out of that. Now, we're going to talk a lot about SPC. SPC is going to be mentioned a lot. That is the Storm Prediction Center for anybody that does not know. They're the ones that issue these severe weather outlooks that we get that cover our severe weather risk zones that are in place. And today you can see that dark marginal risk zone along that I-10 corridor into southwestern Georgia. Very low end 2% tornado risk. Have a way to get alerts on your phones down there. I do not plan on covering this today because it is such a low end risk zone. We haven't had any tornadoes yet this morning, so we will be on standby just in case something does happen as always. But low end tornado risk, wind threat at 5% and a hail threat at 5%. Like I said, this should be mostly done within the next 7 to 8 hours as this storm system moves its way off the coastline. Also, as we look into tomorrow, we're not expecting any severe weather. Tomorrow should be an off day to kind of get people back in prepared for what's coming up this week. We also, going into day 3 here for your Wednesday forecast, we have a very rare marginal risk zone over here for portions of the West Coast. That is Oregon, Washington's state here, and also portions of the Idaho, western Idaho here as we have the threat for all modes of severe weather. We will be in standby mode for this as well on Wednesday. If this does get upgraded to a slight risk or anything crazy happens, this this is going to be a wind, hail, and tornado threat, a very low end risk zone for you guys. We're having an upper level trough that's moving through that's going to give us the threat for severe weather. Other than that, general thunderstorms along the southeast here into the southern plains, central plains, not expecting any severe weather there. Now, things get very, very interesting as we go into the day 4 through 8 outlook here from the Storm Prediction Center. We don't have anything highlighted yet for day 4 or day 5. That'll be Thursday and Friday. I would not be surprised if SPC does highlight something in the central plains or the Midwest or Ohio Valley for Thursday and Friday. There's going to be a little disturbance that's going to move through. Some of the models have it, some of the models don't, so that's why we don't have anything yet. But some of the models do have the idea of a low-end severe weather risk on Thursday and Friday. Now, if something does happen, we'll give you guys that news as soon as it does happen. That will be in tomorrow's video or in future videos if those outlooks do come out. Day 4 through 8 outlooks only get updated once every single day, and that's between 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning as we're all sleeping. So we don't have anything currently right now for day 4, day 5, so I wouldn't be surprised if something does change. Day 6 is where things get interesting. We do have a day 6, once again, SPC outlook here. This is a slight risk level 2 out of 5 for severe weather. For your Saturday, this is going to be all of Missouri, western Illinois, eastern portions of Kansas, southeastern Nebraska, eastern and central Oklahoma. That does include the Oklahoma City metro area, Tulsa as well, north extreme portions of Texas, and central and northwestern Arkansas. Now, a lot of these areas have been battered with severe weather already this year. Not so much the southern plains or the central plains, more the Arklatex, Missouri Valley areas have seen lots of severe weather. We had a historic tornado outbreak a couple weeks ago, or really about a week ago in Missouri, that caused multiple long track tornadoes, and seeing severe weather highlighted over those same areas again as those areas are trying to recover is not something that I'm thrilled to see. So we're going to have to watch this very, very closely. All modes of severe weather will be possible on Saturday as we get closer to this event. I will let you guys know. I will mention something on the outlook for this weekend. So Saturday and Friday, or Saturday and Sunday's outlook this coming up weekend, there is a lot of model discrepancy. I'm actually very, very surprised that SPC already issued something on Saturday and Sunday so far out. You typically want to have a lot of confidence when you issue these higher and advanced outlook updates. And so currently right now we've got the GFS model and the GFS ensemble model really showing the severe weather potential, maybe a significant outbreak, and the European and the EPS models are just, they're not showing anything. So once again, I think where a lot of us in the weather world are kind of shocked that we've got a risk zone in place for day 6 and day 7. Here is that day 7 outlook here for your Saturday, and I want to make this known right now. This is the largest day 7 slight risk that has ever been issued in Storm Prediction Center history. So out of all the slight risks that we've had severe weather-wise on outlooks since the Storm Prediction Center has ever been existing, which has been about 20, almost 30 years now, this is the largest outlook that we've had on a day 7 outlook. So if you're in this risk zone for Sunday, I do expect this to change. I do expect this to probably shrink down as we get closer to this event. This is just kind of a broad overview on where we could see some severe weather at. If you're in these areas that are highlighted or on the borderline of these areas that could be highlighted, just be very, very weather aware, especially as we go into this weekend, that we have that threat for significant severe weather, at least on the table. Is it going to happen? What's going to happen? We don't know that detail yet. We're not going to get into those details until we get closer to the middle of the week. I wouldn't even have an idea on what's going to happen until probably Thursday or Friday when our short range models get out. We don't even get model guidance in until about 60 to 72 hours in advance. So this is going to be just something we kind of pinned upon and talk about on different scenarios that could happen throughout the week here. So once again, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina into the threat. And there will be some type of risk zone, marginal risk that extends out that level 1 risk. So once again, very, very rare day 7, biggest and boldest risk zone that we have seen the Storm Prediction Center ever issue in history. So just something to kind of note there. And like I said, all modes of severe weather will be possible. We'll get into those details here again in a couple of days. Now, I'm not going to go into too detail on what our models are suggesting with all of our ingredients in the atmosphere, because like I said, we've got our GFS and our European show in 2 different solutions. I'm going to show you guys the GFS briefly, and then I'm going to show you guys the European briefly and kind of give you guys an overview on why some things are not lining up and why things are lining up. That's why my confidence personally is not on the table yet for this weekend's event, but nevertheless, the Storm Prediction Center has issued those risk zones, so please take those seriously. As those are issued, I will advocate as they need. What we've got ongoing right now is we have a ridge over in the west building. We have a troughing that is still ongoing here. This is what brought us that severe weather risk yesterday with all that hail, the wind, the tornadoes that we've had over the last 48 hours from the deep south into the Tennessee Valley. That trough will be moving its way off through the north as we go through today and tomorrow. It's going to be a pretty pleasant pattern over the next 48 to 72 hours across the majority of the United States. But I want you guys to see on the left side of your screen, we do have that troughing that does set up a kind of an atmospheric river that sets up along the northwestern Pacific, again giving us a low-end severe weather risk for Wednesday afternoon. Once again, Washington, Idaho, and Oregon under the threat for a low-end severe weather risk. We'll keep you guys updated on that. Once again, this is the GFS model run, and I want you guys to start to see as we go into Thursday and Friday, as I mentioned, the threat for maybe a low-end severe weather risk on Thursday and Friday. You can kind of see a little bit of a sheared environment across portions of the upper high plains here in the Midwest, maybe giving us a hail and wind threat, maybe an isolated tornado risk on Thursday and Friday. I don't want to speculate too much on this, but a little bit of a question mark on Thursday and Friday if we were to get some type of risk zone. But I want you guys to pay attention to what's going to happen on Saturday and Sunday. We see the shortwave amplified trough really kind of deepen as it goes into Saturday and Sunday. And there will be that threat for significant severe weather anywhere from the central and southern plains through the Mississippi River Valley into the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, and the Midwest, and eventually along the East Coast if this front does trend. This is not this gigantic, massive trough ejection like we saw back in the middle of March where we were looking at a significant big-time tornado outbreak. This is going to be something we have to watch more on the conditional side of things for a tornado risk, wind and hail risk, I think, personally, as of right now. But nevertheless, like I said, that troughing does show up. That will give us that severe weather potential anywhere in the areas that already have risk zones that are present. We'll have to keep you guys updated on that situation. And then that trough works its way off on Monday and Tuesday, and we kind of get back into more of a zonal jet stream with a ridge underneath, and then maybe even start to see more of an active pattern once April gets here. I do expect April to pick up pretty quickly. I do want to show you guys something, though. It's very, very interesting and very important to our severe weather potential. This is that open warm sector we talk about when we need dew points to be in the 60s to the middle upper 60s to get significant severe weather. And I want you guys to see, as we go into this week, look at the warm sector that's going to set up. And this is why the Storm Prediction Center has issued that risk zone so broadly for Saturday and Sunday. You have basically 60-degree dew points from the Ohio Valley and Midwest all the way down to the Gulf of, down here to the Gulf. So just something we have to watch very, very closely in terms of severe weather potential. Is everybody in this area going to see severe weather? Probably not. It definitely could happen, but just something we have to watch very, very closely. That's why that risk zone is present. We have confidence on a very open and unstable warm sector. We'll have instability values that'll be pretty decent as well, but just something I wanted to show you guys going into the time period here. And I'll just kind of show you guys an idea of where those storms could potentially fire off at, just kind of giving a long-term look at this here, and you can see possibly some showers and some storms throughout the week across the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and down into the southern plains. That severe weather threat organizing with that low pressure system on Saturday afternoon. This is going to be an overnight event for the southern plains and Missouri Valley on Saturday, and then that low deepens and that shortwave trough amplifies as it works its way to the east, and we get some severe weather potentially from the Ohio Midwest all the way down through the southern plains. So don't, like I said, take this kind of with a grain of salt right now. Do in fact listen to what the Storm Prediction Center says. They are the professionals. They know what they're doing. I just have a little bit of questionary thoughts on what's going to happen with Saturday and Sunday's risk zones. I will show quickly as well the European model, just so you guys can see as well the difference with our troughing. This is the big, kind of iffy kind of concept for me trying to understand what we're going to see on Saturday and Sunday. But nevertheless, troughing stays in place for majority of the week, ridging to the west, and then same setup on Wednesday. There's severe weather potentially low and severe weather potential for the northwestern Pacific there on Wednesday afternoon. And then watch this, guys, as we go into Friday and Saturday, you do see that trough come in on Friday and Saturday here, but as we get into Sunday, we don't have this big amplified trough. We have a shortwave trough moving in with a little bit of a subtropical jet stream to the south of it here, which hopefully, this trends. I would like this trend a little bit better. It would kind of make things overall a little bit better of a situation with not seeing this robust warm sector maybe, but I do think severe weather will be definitely on the table on Saturday and Sunday, regardless of what troughing pattern sets up. So this is something we're just going to have to watch very, very closely here. I will give you guys more updated details and more in-depth forecasting on this. We'll do some live streams and start talking about this tonight and this afternoon. That way we can kind of get some questions answered and try and get some things figured out. I hate seeing these day 6 and day 7 outlooks so far out because you just you look at them and you're like, am I going to get severe weather? Am I not going to get severe weather? Where is it going to happen at? It takes some time to kind of figure things out. So we will keep you guys updated on that. If you guys will, as always, share this video out, like this, comment. If you guys have any questions, we'll keep you guys updated. Stay safe. Have a wonderful Monday, and we will see you guys in the next one.